Hello guys, welcome to ADB Tech channel. So today we are continuing with Spring Boot security basic application only. So if you see my screen, so I have added two more get mapping methods. You can see get movies data. So the mapping is slash movies and get books data. So the mapping is the slash books, right? So for this, we have different kind of API methods, right? So if I go back to my security class, the configuration class. So you can see in the configure method, SPP security, you can see there is a different way of adding the giving that authentications. So you can see that there is authorized request, and we have ant matches, right? We can match your URIs with this like this, like welcome or movies or books, right? So you want it authenticated, you can do with this authenticated. So I wanted to authenticate welcome and the movies as authenticated. For books, I don't want to authenticate. I'll just do permit all. Okay. And farm login and HTTP basic. This is the method which we have, right? So this I have slightly modified. So you can do this way also. So you can give authentications for which specific URLs, and if you don't want to give any authentication, then you can give like this. You can directly do the permit all. So let me start the application. Yeah, application started. Let me open the browser. So if you see, I just clicked welcome, but it is expecting login page. But if I go back to localhost, so I have another URI is books, right? If I give books, see, it is giving books data because I'm not asking our Spring Security to authenticate that particular URI. So I'm just allowing to access for any users, right? So for a welcome and movies, it will ask you to enter the credentials. Okay. So if let me try with movies. So it is asking username password. So let me give my username password. Admin 1234. So you can see right now it is showing movies data. Even if I try welcome now, so it will work fine because the JSession ID would be stored in cookies, browser cookies, so it will work. So you don't need to enter multiple times. So this is the way of giving the permissions. And if you see, there is another way we can do that as well. Okay, so let me copy this. Okay, instead of copying, let me write this. So protect right y configure. So there is an authentication manager we have. You see authentication manager builder. Okay, so you can use this authentication manager builder to configure in-memory user details. Okay, you can close the exception. Okay, so now here if you do auth dot, so in-memory authentication, you can see that there are a couple of methods here. So I'll go with in-memory authentication. So what this will do, it will store your user details in in-memory database actually. So you can use that, and you can give with user, right? So what is the username? So I can say like admin, right? And my password, what is my password? I can say, so for example, admin only, admin. Okay. Username and password both are admin. And so what I can do, so I should give authorities. Okay, for specific users, you can see there is a authorities function. If you do these authorities, you can give the authorities of to the specific user. You can do admin, or you can say like user. So right now I'm making this user as a admin. Okay, then you can do and condition, and you can add one more user if you want. So let me add one more user. Okay, I can say the user is user, and the password is again user. Okay, authorities, so user. Okay. So now I'll say, and so we should give one more thing here. So we have to use password encoder here. You can see there is a password encoder function. So inside you will have no of password encoder. So no of password encoder dot get instance. Okay. So if you use this, so it will authenticate your user. So we can see how it will work. So let me restart my application. Okay, so my application got started. So let me go to the browser and welcome. So it is asking username password, right? So I can enter admin. My password is 1234. So it is showing bad credentials because if you go back to the IDE, see you have added in-memory authentication, right? So the Spring Boot by default will check inside the memory first in-memory database values. If you are not mentioning anything here, then it will check in the application dot properties. So the name and username and password it will consider. So the primary would be it will consider in-memory database authentication. Okay. So you have to use admin or user, then only it will work. Okay. Let me go back to the so admin, this admin. So it's working fine, right? So you can do books. Books not required anything. Consider books. Okay. So this is how you can validate, your user details. Otherwise, we have the couple of other ways as well. You can use by using user details, class also you have. So if you have confusion on this way, like in-memory authentication with user, the password authorities, right? You can use same function but with a different way of declaration. Okay, let me show you that as well. Now let me comment this. I have commented this. So let me paste. Okay. So we have authentication manager builder. So here what you can do, you can create one in-memory user detail manager. Okay. So in-memory you can see it, user detail managers we have. So you can create this object. Okay. Okay. So you created one in-memory user details manager object, and then you can create user details object. Okay. You can see there is a user details. Okay. So you can add user one, for example. Okay. Then let's just starting with the user dot with user details. Okay. Here you can mention your user details. You can use this. Otherwise, you can use there is another function. That function. You can see it directly. You can mention username. Okay, that is a user details object. It's a username. So let me give the username, and you should mention the password as well, right? So password is like mention admin, right? And you should provide the authorities as well here. So like he's admin, right? And there is a function called print. So this is how you can define your user details. Okay. The same thing I'm copy pasting, right, for different user authorities. I can say it's user 2, and here it is user. Same password also user, and my authority is also user. Okay. User means authorities. You will have read access. Okay. Admin or read. So okay. So you created now. in-memory user details manager and user details you created objects. So now, so there is a one more service you have. So user details service. So by using that, you can create a user. Okay, user details service that you can use create user. So you can say user one. Okay. Showing some error. Okay, sorry, user details service. Yeah, so this is what it is. In memory user details. Okay, so that create user of user. So now you have created the two users and you set it to in memory database. Then you can do auth dot user detail service. So you should provide this object. Okay. So this is how you can define the users. Okay. This is like step-by-step process, or you can use this also. Both would be similar. Okay. So let me restart my application. Okay. We'll check in the code. Okay. It's asking username password admin. I'm giving admin. See, we got one error. Okay. This application has no explicit mapping, right? So why we got 500 error, right? Let me go back to the console. You can see here there is a error. So you can see, right, there is no password encoder mapped for the ID null. So here you mentioned there is a no op password encoder, right? So you should enable that bean, then only this configuration will work. Okay. So let me add that bean here. Okay. So let me create the bean. Okay. Public. Let's say what. Sorry. So there will be a return type also static. So no password encoder. No password encoder. So return no op password encoder dot get instance. Okay. Okay, we have to cast with no password no op password encoder, and you should add at the rate bean. Okay, so bean. Okay, now if you restart the server, right? Let me start server. Okay. Okay, so now let me open the browser. Welcome. So now if I give admin, so now it is working, right? So we have enabled that bean object. So no password encoder. So it is no, enable that no, authentication here. So this is how you can define the user details. Okay. So if you are defining in-memory database details, then it will consider that only. So it won't consider your application properties username password. So today's lesson, I just wanted to complete this stuff only. So in my upcoming video, we can see how we can configure JWT token. So with our API integration. Thanks for watching. Thank you guys.